In this movie, we're going to add a drop-down menu to ask the user to select the country they're from. And then we'll go and talk a little bit more about how drop-down menus work within Formr. So in order to create a drop-down or select menu, we're going to use the input_select method. The method accepts 8 arguments. The first argument is our name field. So since we're asking for a country, we'll call this country. The second argument is our label. Third argument is our default value. The fourth argument is an ID. Fifth argument is a string. The sixth argument is a bootstrap help block. The seventh argument is also a default value, and you can also enter a string in this, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. And then the eighth argument is where we're going to put in an array of all of our options. So I'll just call that options. And then let's go ahead and create our array right up here. And let me clean that up a little bit. Okay, so you can see that all we're doing here is we're creating an associative array, and we're adding 2 countries, the United States and Canada. Our array key is actually going to be our drop-down menu value, and this will be our drop-down menu label. So it'll be a little bit easier to understand when I show you. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, go back to our form and refresh it. And there's our drop-down menu with just the United States and Canada. And let's go ahead and take a look at the source code. And you can see that here is our select menu. So the array key is right here. It's our option value. And then the array value is our option label. All right? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. What if you have, well, for instance, the countries, we have well over 100 countries. So you can see that this would get a little bit tedious to have to type in 100 countries. Even though it's a simple associative array, that's still a lot of work. Well, Formr can make your life a little bit easier. Instead of building your own array for every menu that you want to use, we can just go ahead and type in a string. I'm going to go ahead and save that and refresh, and now you can see that we have an entire country menu in here. That's because Formr has some drop-down menus that are already baked in. So if we wanted to use a state, we could type in state, refresh, and there's our state, all of our 50 states. So what's going on here is that Formr has some pre-built menus that are really easy to get in there, but of course these are just real simple state and country menus. You're going to want to build your own menus, and some of them you're going to want to reuse, I would imagine. So the way that this is basically working is that when you type in a string, Formr knows that you want to access a method in the Dropdowns class. So I'll go ahead and open this up. And you can see here that we have several methods in the class, and they're all associative arrays. And since we typed in country over here, Formr is then going to go into this class and look for the array or the method named country. Okay, so if we typed in, for instance, age, or as I previously demonstrated, state, then we get that method. So that's great. We can have these this class full of methods, but what if you want to start building your own? Well, that's really easy to do. So all we need to do is we can just go ahead and let's just take our states method, for example. I'm going to go ahead and copy that, close this document. I'm going to open up the My Classes folder, and then I'm going to open up My Dropdown. And in this class, we can go ahead and put in our own methods and save them and build up libraries and share them or do whatever you want to do with drop-down menus. So now I'm going to go ahead and paste that in there. And since we already have a states one, we need to create a new method. I'm just going to call this foobar. I'm going to save this. Now I'm going to go back over to my form and just type in foobar. Hit save, go back here and refresh, and you can see it's still a state menu. So just to better prove my point, I'm going to type in foobar right here, go ahead and refresh, and now you can see there's my foobar menu, and this is my menu now in my Dropdowns class. So it's really powerful to be able to go ahead and just quickly create menus through associative arrays. So now let me go back and quickly just touch on the 7th parameter here. So we can put in a default value of, well, let's see, since we're dealing with states, let's go ahead and put in FL. Now FL is our key for Florida. All right, so when I refresh this, Florida is automatically selected. Now, of course, on form submit, if I go ahead and select another one like Delaware and submit the form, you can see that Delaware stays. So that's already built in for us as well. Now there's another thing that I can do here, and that is to type in a string. And go ahead and save that and refresh. And now you'll see it says please select a foobar. So I can enter in a default option as well that will be right up at the top and will automatically be selected. So that's basically it for drop-down menus within Formr.